Hey guys, it's Kim here with Verily Fiber Fun. Today we are dyeing up some really pretty colors based off of the opening photo, and then we will card up a custom bat, and we will end with a photo of the braids and the stitch markers that go with. So this is the Hocus Pocus theme that was inspired by a custom order, and I decided to run with it. So today we are dyeing up not just the 4 ounces or 2 ounces or however much of merino wool for the custom order, but I'm also dyeing up 6 4-ounce braids of mixed BFL top. So the first thing I like to do is to put a few beads of urea in each of the jars, and I am doing 2 jars of each color, and I'm trying to make sure I get the colors nice and saturated. I put my dye powders in each jar. I have 4 colors and 2 pans, hence the 2 jars of each color. And again, I'm using way more dye than I normally would for dyeing up fiber, but I normally would not be doing 6 colors. So that's a little bit important. I have next to me a little measuring cup of water so that I can rinse stuff out or finish filling up the jars with cold water once I'm done dissolving the dyes. Sometimes I don't even use that. And I do try to keep my counter protected because I do, this is the dirty dishes counter, but I do cook right here. So I need this space to stay clean and pristine and no cross-contamination. So cleaning up has to be done very thoroughly when I'm done and before I cook. So there are all the different colors set up and ready for boiling water, which is how I get the dyes fully dissolved. The urea makes a huge difference with this. So once I have water in all of the jars, or in this case, half the jars, then it's time to stir and stir and stir and stir and stir until you think your hand's going to fall off to make sure you get all of the dyes completely dissolved. And now I'm going back around and I'm doing the other set of colors. So in this instance, I did half at one time and now I'm doing the rest. And this water is very hot and these glass jars get quite hot, so caution is highly recommended. Once your powder dyes are liquid, then you no longer need a respirator to be safe because it's all that chemical is trapped in water. It isn't going to be flying around in the air. I do find the fumes from the dyes to be a little excessive, if you will, but I just turn on the stove hood fan or vent, and that pulls those toxins and smells out so that I'm breathing them less. So here I've got 2 pans. Each one has 3 braids of BFL, and the second pan, or actually the one on the right that I'm dyeing up first, has some merino on top, and I tried to gradient dye the merino so I have it laid drastically different than the BFL. And this is probably my favorite way to dye colorways. It works extremely well and I rarely get any felting happen. There is more color mixing here than I was hoping for, but it all turned out in the end. And as usual, I ended up with just a sliver for the last color. But that is okay. It's not the end of the world. I think I did just a smidge better on the second pan, but not much. And I was trying to make sure I got each color on the merino there. I'm rinsing my jars by putting some water in them and then dumping the excess dye or the leftover dye onto the fiber. So there is no heat yet, and the dyes did sit long enough to cool down, so the colors will not strike immediately. So once I'm done pouring the dyes on the pans, I want to make sure that all of the wool gets dye on it, and there is a lot of wool in these pans. So if it were hot, I would not be able to do this without risking felting, but because it is cold, um, the dye is cold, the wool is cold, the pre-soak water with vinegar is cold. Yes, the colors will begin striking just because it's room temperature and there is a lot of vinegar in here, but it won't thoroughly strike until heat is added. So that's the idea here, and I got a surprisingly solid coverage. Surprising because there's so much wool in these pans. I think I can do up to 4 per pan, but I prefer to do 2 or 3 4-ounce sections. It just dyes up a little bit easier, a little bit better, and also not having a slightly melted spot on your spoon helps a lot because rough spots grab wool. So there is that. So once the braids are fully dyed up and I've washed all of them, then we can take the 2-ounce portion of merino that I dyed gradient and blend it together. And I chose some bamboo. That's what these colors are here. And recycled sari silk or pulled sari silk in these colors. And then this is sea cell, I believe. And then what's left sitting on the drum carder is actually black Angelina or black Firestar. I think it's Firestar. So it's sparkly, but it's more of a shimmer type sparkle than a sparkle. Anyway, I didn't realize I had this in my stash, or I'd forgotten I had it, and it was just the most perfect thing for a witchy Halloween themed colorway. So I think it worked out beautifully. Now, the merino being on the top of the dye pans did not absorb as vibrant of color as the BFL did, which was underneath. Whatever's on the bottom of the pan is going to be the hottest and is going to absorb the most dye. So usually I will move things around halfway through the dye session, but I did not do that this time. I just let it do its thing. And so these colors were not quite as vibrant as I had hoped for. However, the camera is blowing them out, so they are more vibrant than the camera shows. Such is life. And it will look a million times better once I have all of the other colors blended in. So I've divided the strip of merino into color sections and then each color section into 4 or however many chunks so that I can card 4 layers to the bat, and I'm trying to place the colors sort of like they are in the picture, but understanding that I can only go in like a specific order on the drum carder. If I was doing the blending board, I could do a little fancier, but this works, and I'm very, very happy with the results. So while carding away, I am trying to keep these colors in a very specific order, and I'm going to just let you guys watch this first layer done in real speed time. You've already probably seen this video if you're a returning viewer. You've already seen this in hyper speed. But I wanted you to be able to get an idea of exactly what I was doing and kind of talk you through the process. And so I am matching the bamboo with the colors of wool. I'm also matching the recycled sari silk, but the other add-ins are just added all over everywhere for visual interest and texture. So I'm going to turn on a bit of music here and let you watch the rest of this section, and then I will be back to talk a little bit more at the end. I hope you've enjoyed watching this long, detailed process of creating a colorway, transforming it into a bat, all of that. I enjoy the process very much, and I enjoy sharing my methods with you guys. There are a million different ways to do this type of art, and if you are doing it or want to do it, I hope that you understand there is no right or wrong. There is some general rules to keep in mind, and then there's just freedom to be creative. So I think this bat turned out absolutely amazingly fantastic, and I wanted to say thank you very much for watching it with me and hanging out with me for a while today. And then we're going to end with some with flash and without flash photos. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.